Hello and welcome to another video. Today I wanted to discuss two different color wheels and some color theory that would be helpful as you make art. There are two main color wheels that are commonly used today. The first one is the RBY color wheel, RBY standing for red, blue, and yellow. This wheel uses traditional primary colors and is overall warm toned. This means that your red and your yellow are both going to lean a little bit more towards an orange color, and your blue is going to lean more towards a purple color. Some of the most commonly used paint colors to represent this palette are cadmium red, cadmium yellow, and an ultramarine blue. The RBY primaries are particularly good at mixing colors that look natural and realistic. If you're someone like me who tries to paint nature scenes realistically, I would recommend that you use the traditional RBY color wheel, as this gives you a pretty good range of natural looking colors. The second color wheel often used is the more modern CMYK wheel. This stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, with the key being black. These primary colors are overall cool, meaning both yellow and cyan lean towards green, and magenta leans more towards purple. A few paint colors that I've seen used to represent these primaries are manganese or turquoise blue, quinacridone magenta, and lemon yellow. CMYK primaries are usually used within professional printing, so each color refers to an ink plate utilized in that process. Because of this, if you're a digital or graphic design artist, you might benefit from using the CMYK primaries over the RBY primaries. If you're an artist who uses a traditional medium, you can still use the CMYK wheel if you want a cool-toned color palette, but you should keep in mind that it might be harder for you to find colors that fall under the scope of magenta or cyan. As you mix colors, you might notice that they're not as vibrant as the primary colors you use to make them. This is because of a concept called chroma. Chroma refers to the intensity of a color. Primary colors have a high chroma, and the more colors that are mixed together, the lower chroma that you'll get. This is why if you mix a bright yellow and a red, you won't get a fluorescent orange, because an orange made using red and yellow pigment will have a lower chroma than an orange made with orange pigment. Looking at the color picker on screen, most of the primary colors are shown as being in the top right of the circle, meaning that they have a high chroma. And if we look at the mixed colors like green and purple, they're usually showing up in the middle of the circle, meaning that they have a lower chroma. Because of this, if you want to use a color that's really bright and vibrant like hot pink, you're probably going to have a better time going and actually getting the supply in that color than you are mixing that color. On the flip side, if you have a low chroma color, you'll likely be able to mix that yourself. For example, cadmium yellow will need to be bought instead of trying to mix it, but yellow ochre can pretty easily be made by mixing cadmium yellow, a touch of red, and a tiny bit of blue. Color theory can get pretty complicated since it deals with the visible light spectrum. Every color we see is really just light reflecting into our eyes. That's why some colors seem to change within different lighting. The easiest way for me to remember how light affects color is that the more natural light there is, the warmer toned things will be, and the less light, the cooler toned. That's why areas of shadow seem to appear bluish. There is discussion within color theory that the combination of complementary colors such as blue and orange don't make brown, but because of things like chroma and the visible light spectrum, they make gray. While I understand the points being made within that discussion, I don't think they're quite practical for the average artist. As I found combining complementary colors using the traditional RBY color wheel, it does produce brown, and that the CMYK primaries are far more likely to eventually gray out. Which, if you are a traditional artist, you're likely going to be using the RBY primaries and won't need to worry about that anyway. I did try using the RBY color wheel using a cool tone red that is still a red and not a magenta, and a cool tone blue that is still a blue and not a cyan, and I found that even mixing those with their complementary colors can still produce a brown. Those are a few things that I haven't seen covered as often in color theory videos that I've seen, so I hope that those things help. I would love to know your thoughts on the brown versus gray complementary color discussion. Have you had your browns grayed out before? Because I know that I have. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time. Bye.